Welcome back after a longer break. We have some birds and wildlife behind me. You can probably hear them, or you will be able to hear them while I speak. Sorry for the off top at the very beginning. So, welcome back after a longer break. I'm terribly sorry for taking too long, or maybe it's not too long, that long. But I've been very busy. So, I'm after a longer trip again. I'm sorry. Distractors are everywhere. Um, I'm after a long journey and before another long journey. So we are in the region of Oberschlesien, where I kind of originally come from in this life. In the park with the ski slope behind me. Of course, it's not the time for skiing now, but why is it important that I'm here? Because my family triggered or inspired me to talk a bit. Of course, there are dozens of topics I would like to talk about, but today has been quite meaningful. We have already said it a few times that words are powerful. Words are really powerful in each and every meaning. What we say, spoken words, written words, what we say, what we write is actually what we attract and what we manifest. So if you speak, if you manifest positive, you attract positive things. If you're negative in your expression, you bring all the negativity back to you. And we already said about it some 3 months or something like that ago. Of course, the videos are like timeless, like timeless tarot reading or readings, so you can watch them whenever you want. But some time ago, I explained it to you, how manifesting works. And it's manifesting. It's also one of the topics I talked about recently when I told you about, saying something nice and kind to others instead of spreading criticism, negativity, and so on. And this time I would like to talk about it a little bit deeper, because I'm exhausted. I'm extremely tired. I have been extremely tired for a long time. It's not only me being overworked, having too many tasks or something like that, but I'm also energetically tired due to a few factors. Actually, I wasn't planning to talk about it, but I can say it. Okay, I already mentioned it briefly. There are a few people who keep on hating on me and sending me their hate and resentment and negative energy, like spreading gossip about me, and them officially turning the roles and so on. I would like to say I don't give a shit to it, but energetically I'm tired, and in the 3D space, in the real life, it does not help at all as well. But there is this but. Each of my trips, each of my journeys back, I don't know, I should say back home here. I am kind of home here, but my main home is of course north of Germany, the city of Braunschweig, where I have lived for some time, and it is my real home. Well, we can say it's my second home here. But what I really mean is my family. Why I come here so regularly. I want to see mostly people I love, and my dog who lives together with my mother and my grandma. My dog is very old. He's very old due to various reasons. He could not move together with me. Officially, it's my mother's dog, actually, because when we got the adoption papers, when you take a dog from a shelter, it's like adopting a kid. And those who have dogs, and especially dogs and kids, they know they are basically the same in many aspects. So anyway, when we were when we wanted to adopt Billy, my mother had a better position at the time, fewer working hours and so on, so she was a much better candidate, and she signed the papers, and it's officially her dog. Anyway, another off topic. So I always come here to visit my dog, to see my friends, to organize a few things, I don't know, regarding my hairdresser, beauticians, and so on. The fun fact is, of course, it's not, like really necessary due to some external reasons, but I trust those people who do it here for me, and at the same time they are also my friends, so I just want to see them. I want to have the things done, and I want to see them, I want to talk to them, I need some gossip, some time together, and so on. So it's the first thing, so I like to have my things done. Confirmation. And I love to see my closest friends. There are quite a few people here, and they are like my real family. They are my real family, my mental family, my spiritual family, and quite a few girls and a few guys I can always see and mention and visit, and they know who I'm talking about, so they know that every time I come here, I immediately turn to them and ask whether they would have time, and so on. But I also have my genetic family, not a large one. After my dad moved out from here, he lives also in another country, quite a few, I'm sorry, there is a fly, a few thousand kilometers or miles away from here. So yeah, basically he lives in Turkey now with his wife. So the genetic family I visit here, it's my mom, my grandma, so her mother, and very rarely my grandpa, so my mom's father. And they are difficult. It took me many years to accept and understand the whole situation, all the circumstances we are in. And probably I will tell you in some videos, in some stories, what happened to me, or what is the background behind some of my, I'm not going to say any longer problems or things like that. I would say these were just my lessons, the lessons I had to learn. Sorry, there was a cyclist. There are quite a few paths here. One can go walking, one can go cycling. Anyway, so my genetic family, my mother and her parents, are quite a strong background behind my own story. A few important lessons. Oh my God, there are quite a few people now, because after a few days of rain, the sun has come out. Anyway, I learned to ignore some behaviors. I've learned to, I've learned not to take it personally, but still there is one thing which is quite problematic to me and which takes a lot of my energy. It's what they say all the time, especially my mother, but I also started observing my grandma. So of course it's not like my mother is the only person who is guilty here, and it has come out of nowhere what she does, because of course she basically learned it from her mother, and today I realized something more. The point is that my mother never ever says anything positive about other people. I come here and either it's like personal attacks, no matter if it's toward me. Sometimes it is, now not as frequently as it used to be, but still from time to time. But it's like personal attacks toward my grandma, toward other people. So she likes, she like talks about all the people all the time, saying how stupid they are and worse things. She swears quite a lot. Fun fact, my mother is a teacher. Actually, she is a school principal. I don't know how she stops herself at work. I hope she does. Anyway, in her private life, it's quite harsh. Yeah, so she swears a lot. She curses. She says terrible things about people, using terrible words and so on. What I find mostly problematic is when she attacks my grandma. Yeah, I won't disclose too many details, but she openly wishes my grandma that my grandma dies as soon as possible, and not using the word die and any kind words, trust me. And it's like her mother. I know that their story has also been complicated because we have those generational traumas, quite a few that I'm supposed to break and which I am breaking. But it hurts a lot. It hurts a lot, especially as, even though I am aware of the fact that my grandma is a rather difficult person, it's still my grandma, and I love her a lot. Even though my mother has been a nightmare to me, I also love my mother. So it's really difficult to listen to such things. And you enter this house, because I cannot call it home. You enter this house and you keep on listening all the time, only such negative words: criticism, swearing, cursing, criticism, swearing, cursing toward anyone and everyone. So I keep on my guard, I keep on my energetic shield, but it's difficult to have it up all the time. So it takes it costs me a lot of energy, a lot of vibrations, a lot of my inner strength to put up with it. And of course you might ask, okay, so why you've never said it? Why you've never told your mom how difficult it is? Of course I have. And I try to talk to her from many various perspectives. From my own, that it's unpleasant and unkind to me, especially when we see each other, like, 3 or 4 times a year, and we do not talk about important matters, only such stuff. It did not work. I tried to convince her that it's still her mother or other people who are kind of important to her. It didn't work. I tried to explain it to her exactly what I want to tell you today, that what you say is what you manifest, is what, and is exactly what comes back to you, and that she's hurting energetically, not only the people around her but herself. And the karma, the universe are going to return it to her. Also didn't work. So you cannot force. That is also a very important thing. You cannot force anyone to change, and you cannot force anyone to heal. As long as this person doesn't want it themselves, you are not able to do it. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, it's just not gonna work. Yeah, so I finally gave up. But I also started observing my grandma, and I realized that it's also, I don't know if you can call it also a trauma, or maybe it's just kind of a pattern, probably more like a pattern or scheme. My grandma does the same, so my mother must have learned it from her. And when I thought about it, because my grandma can also be harsh. Oh my God, she can be harsh. Heaven forgive her. When I think of that, for many years, especially when I had a lot of problems, when my life is still quite complicated, but there were very, very difficult and complicated moments. And at that time I did the same, maybe not to that extent, because I've never in my entire life wished anyone that they die or something like that. But I was harsh in my criticism. I liked to criticize people. I liked to gossip and so on. So it was kind of similar. But no surprise if I had to listen to my mother and my grandmother all the time. And there were also other people in my family. It was a gathering of similar people who behaved that way. And the point is that she has also a terrible trauma. Actually, we share it. It's about fathers leaving their families. I'm terribly sorry for my mom and for my grandma, because when my mom was 14, my grandpa, he left the family. He found another woman who was barely 10 years older than my mom, and he left the family, moved out to her and so on. So nothing funny. And of course, when I was a kid, my parents also got divorced, and I cannot say that my father did something like that, because he did not like leave the family this way. But the story was quite similar and also quite unpleasant. I would say. I don't want to disclose any details now. Anyway, my grandpa, my granddad left the family, and he disappeared for many years. Uh, he was not present at my parents' wedding or something like that, or any crucial moments probably for my mom. So no surprise she is so bare. When I was born, he was also not there, and he kind of briefly reappeared when I was a small kid, but it was a weird stranger. And then there was a longer break, and he kind of returned when I was a teen. So I have never developed a deep bond with this man. He's really a stranger to me. Of course, I do my best. I do my best, but yeah, I do not feel we're family. My mother did more. Why she did it, I'm not going to say, because she had some other reasons than just pure love and missing her dad. It was, let's call it, more complex. Anyway, it's still her father, so she must have spent at least part of her childhood. As I said, he was present till she was 14. So she spent her childhood also with him, and she keeps on seeing him quite regularly, because he lives in a nearby city, in our megalopolis. So they spend quite a lot of time, and I see my grandpa like once, sometimes twice a year, usually once. And we also don't call each other too regularly or something like that. As I said, we are kind of strangers. But today he paid a visit to my mom's place, and I was there as well. So when you see your family, when you see your grandpa so rarely, you expect I don't know. Actually, I do not expect anything, but probably most people would expect some kind of a nice, friendly conversation. I know, small talk, some personal stories, kind of recaps what's been happening recently or something like that. And it took like 4 minutes, and then he was like for 2 hours there, and all the time he kept on criticizing people. Sounds familiar, ain't it? So he kept on telling terrible things, also using similar words like my mom. So like cursing, swearing, and saying really, really terrible things about people. Okay, I'm not saying that those people are not like that. Probably they are, but I wouldn't concentrate on it. And those people he kept on talking about, it was his wife's family. I told you, he left my mom and my grandma for another woman. And it sounds, my god, now I have a mental download. I understood that he hates himself. Okay, but on the outside, in this 3D world where most people are and what most people understand, it looks like he hates his wife. He hates his new family, so he hates her family, and he kept on talking about her and her siblings, I don't know, nieces, nephews, and so on, that whole family, you know. So for me, complete strangers, also genetically. And I'm terribly sorry, I need to give you an off-top. I wanted to say it later, but if you behave similarly, actually you're talking about yourself. So now I understood it. Wow, thank you for this video. Thank myself. I understood that he really hates himself. I guess he must be hating himself, or for what he did, or for what he has done, because it still has effects on the whole family and on my mom. Anyway, if my grandpa keeps on talking like that, what should I expect from my mother? She learned it from her both parents, and you know, she kind of gave it further to me. Fortunately, I did not like it, so I broke that cycle. I broke that pattern. I decided not to be like that. I decided not to repeat it, not to continue it. But what is important to you is exactly what you say, is what you manifest, and is what you attract, and it's actually what you are. Because what I wanted to tell you is that, you know, stop saying negative things, stop criticizing people, stop swearing, cursing, and so on, because it's gonna get back to you. It's gonna get back to you. I don't like to use the word punish, because, you know, some people would say the universe is going to punish you. I'm not sure whether it's punishing, but, you know, it's returning. What you give is what you get. It was my original idea, but now having had this mental download, I want to tell you, if you're a person like that, who criticizes, who sends hate and resentment, who keeps on gossiping about people, who keeps on, you know, wishing them the worst things, who keeps on, you know, telling terrible things behind their back, you know, trying to destroy their lives, their careers. Now it's gonna resonate with some people. You're actually talking about yourself. You're actually talking about yourself. Why do you hate yourself? Why are you so critical toward yourself? Because this is what is really behind it. So the point that it's gonna get back to you, it's obvious. It is. But actually, if you're like that, it means that there is something inside of you that you cannot accept and that you hate. So heal it. Look, each of my videos always gets to the point that you need to heal it. Really, I'm not joking. Think about it, and think what you have to heal. I don't really care what kind of healing you choose. You can go to a coach, you can go to a psychologist, you can go to a counselor, you can do it in a more spiritual way. So you can find a kind of this coach, a healer, or a person like that. But do it, because it shows the truth about you, about yourself. Yeah. So probably I had some more ideas I wanted to talk about, but suddenly it turned out to be this way, and it turned in this direction. So I think I'm gonna stop here. So stop spreading negative words, concepts, and stuff like that. You know, try being more positive. And if you feel this urge, if you feel this need to criticize, to hate, to destroy other people, think why you want to destroy yourself and heal it. So I'm sending you beautiful views of the slopes, of the hills, trees and nature, and so on. I'm sending you also a lot of love and light and positive energy, and we're gonna see each other hopefully soon. Bye.